This presentation provides a short overview to the Guide to the Systems Engineering Body of Knowledge, SEBoK, which is one of the products of the Bookcase project. You can find out more about Bookcase, how it is organised and run, on the Bookcase website. The SEBoK was developed to be a living and authoritative guide to the knowledge most important to systems engineering. To achieve this, the SEBoK considers the knowledge which is owned by or relates to systems engineering, how to organise that knowledge to communicate key concepts, ideas and approaches, and the most important and relevant sources for further reading and use. SEBoK is a guide and as such identifies and defines some agreed ideas central to systems engineering and discusses how these ideas are developed by authors, standards and guides, exploring different views as appropriate. It aims to act as a gateway to the wider body of knowledge created and used by the systems engineering community. At the heart of the SEBoK is a guide to the most important standard systems engineering lifecycle, process and practice knowledge sources. Related to this is systems knowledge, which forms the foundations of systems engineering, and knowledge related to the application of systems engineering in different real-world contexts. The SEBoK also covers the relationships between systems engineering and other engineering, management and operational disciplines, and between systems engineering and related enabling discipline knowledge. We recognise that systems engineering related knowledge is not wholly owned or created by systems engineers, and that it sits within a context of related science, management, engineering and domain knowledge, some of which are identified here. Part of the role of the SEBoK is to help bound and position systems engineering knowledge within this wider context, and through this to help establish the role of systems engineering in the resolution of complex problems. These 5 areas of knowledge and the relationships between them, together with an introduction to the SEBoK and a number of examples, make up the high-level architecture of the SEBoK. We believe this structure represents the best current thinking on the scope of systems engineering related knowledge, covering both scope of current standards and guides, the knowledge covered by systems engineering, education and practice. This forms the current context and guiding structure for our Guide to Systems Engineering Knowledge. Looking at these 7 parts and how they are organised in a little more detail, Part 1 gives an overview of systems engineering and a guide to how different people might use the SEBoK. Part 3 covers knowledge on life cycle, process, and how these are applied through the life of a typical system of interest. In Part 2 we identify some key ideas of system science, from which aspects of systems knowledge particularly relevant to systems engineering are further explored. An engineered system context is one where the system of interest includes technology and people developed to provide some value. Part 2 covers knowledge on issues around engineered systems, including purpose and boundary, complexity and emergence, classification and grouping, and some of the systems concepts, patterns, and models available to deal with these. Part 2 also outlines a systems approach to the understanding, creation, sustainment and use of engineered systems, which both underpins systems engineering lifecycle and process knowledge and is applied directly by people, teams and enterprises in the conduct of systems engineering, as discussed further in Part 5. Part 4 generalises engineered system to product, service, enterprise and system-of-system applications. It covers how systems engineering is applied in these domain-independent contexts. New systems engineering and system science knowledge often comes from what we learn from the application of systems engineering to these domains. Part 6 covers relationships with project management, other design disciplines, and specialisms such as safety, security, human systems, etc. Part 7 gives a guide to published systems engineering case studies and provides links from these to relevant SEBoK content. The maturity of the SEBoK should reflect the maturity of systems engineering thinking. Our plans going forward are to ensure this is the case and then to sustain and evolve the SEBoK as systems engineering knowledge continues to change. In a few places, the existence of the SEBoK and the work of some of our editors and contributors is playing a more active role in the challenges of professionalising and expanding the use of systems engineering. You can hear more about our plans for future updates of SEBoK elsewhere on the Bookcase website. Thank you for watching this presentation. If you have any queries or comments, please contact us via the Bookcase website, where you can also find information on the Bookcase project and ways in which you or your organisation can get more involved. Thank you.